So what does that mean? Well, that means that they're going to have an issue. Hey everybody, hope you had a good trading day. So let's get into it. We have 5 stocks that I want to go over for tomorrow. You know, it's a very busy week, but let's just address this with Twitter. So they're getting purchased. The bottom line is it's $54.20 for the purchase. Why this is important is it's not going to wind up going any higher than that unless there's another offer. So the chances of there being another offer, quite frankly, are probably pretty slim with the amount of financing that you're going to need and how deep your pockets are going to be. So I don't think you're going to see a bidding war. Now, based upon that, at $54.20, that's where it's going to go to. But I do think there's another way to make money off of this. But let's just focus on this to begin with. This is VWAP from the peak. So all these people that are in from the peak, on average, you can see they're getting out. So I really don't think that this is worth playing anymore to try to make money off of. I just don't see it that way. You know, you can sell puts if you want, if you really want to, but you're just really getting the time value and exposing yourself to risk. But to buy it to tie up capital, understand that you're basically tying it up for $2.50 at this point. And any options that you own above 55, you might seriously want to consider getting out and just locking in whatever profit or loss you have, unless you think there's going to be a competing bid. That's pretty much it. But this is a way that I think that you can profit from this. Now, I don't think today was the day to do it, but just watch and see how this acts around this level. See if you can wind up getting back up here. Now, if you can't, and we're just going to start trading down, then maybe you start legging into this short. But this is DWAC's done. Truth Social's done. If he follows through with this, it's not going to be necessary. None of these other platforms will be necessary if he does what he wants to do with it. I think the competition is good, but the idea that everyone's going to flock here with some of the issues that they had, with the possibility that they could just stay on the same platform and it's better. It's pretty realistic that everyone's just going to stay on Twitter now. I think that's what you're going to wind up seeing. So if you take a look and we get rid of all these indicators and we just focus on something as simplistic as the trend line, you can see this trend line very clearly. So what I would say is if you can bounce back up near this trend line, if you can get anywhere near there, 42, 42 and a half, anywhere in there, I would look at doing that. I have a really hard time telling you to short anything that's down right now. I just don't see it as, it doesn't really fit there, does it? It's not really fitting anywhere. Let's put it up here. So I don't really want to put ourselves in a position where we're shorting coming down, especially when you look at the Qs. Stay to the end because we're going to go over the indexes and it's really important. But if you could bounce up into this line, which really looks like around 42 and a half, 43, I think that this is heading back down. This might be one of those deals that just never gets completed or done or comes to fruition. I don't see Trump wanting to be associated with a losing proposition, I guess is the best way to put it. So Shanghai had some statements. This is from the newsletter, the game that we had there. If you don't get a copy of the newsletter, there is a free version in the link in the description. But if you see this MOS right here, see this level, take a look at this. All right, there's your 50-day. That's what we hit today and we reversed. I understand oil coming in and GDP contracting and the bonds railing, which we're going to address in a moment, on the Shanghai news. But I don't see why that's going to lead to fertilizer prices coming down and people needing less food. So I don't really get that yet. And comment below if you get it, because I don't get it now. Is it just people selling to lock in a profit? That very well could be the case. They just want to lock in their profits because they have so much, and very few stocks are profitable. But if you focus on this, we bounced right off the 50, and from our experience, we know institutions buy at the 50. So this is very interesting, this setup. Now, you do have earnings that are coming up, but I do think there's a trade here if you can flip this level, 64 3/4. If you can flip that, I do believe we're just looking for a trade. That's all these are when we do these top fives, right? Monday through Thursday. So all we're looking to do is get up to the 70 and a half level. So I think that is very realistic. And if you just kind of take a look at what happened today, corn went higher. It's almost like everybody sold down and then kind of realized what are they doing? So it seems like there was an epiphany at some point in the day on the trade. So this did the same exact thing. NTR, put this one on your list as well. Sold right down. Got this hammer. We almost had dragonfly bars, but not exact. Hit the 50. Again, who buys at the 50? Institutions. Same soup reheated. All you want to do is get over that line. And this is going to be 170. And then see if you can push. Now, this push, flipping this level, I think that you're just going to try to test this 21. We're just looking for that trade. We're just looking for a 6-point trade. And you're going to have to use a shorter time frame, maybe 15 minute, although write this down and remember this. The hourly charts are working a lot better today. I'm going to go over that at the end. But you usually want to cycle through trades and see what levels are being respected the most. 15 minutes, there's a lot of games, and we're going to talk about that. But the hourlies are working. Let's take a look at Apple, and I'll give you an example of this. This is also on the list for today. So you see this level right here at the 28th. So obviously, we know we have earnings. We came out, we know that the iPhones come out of where? Shanghai. I mean, we know this, right? So what does that mean? Well, that means that they're going to have an issue. So we sold all the way down, went over the open, came back in, and closed over the close. We're right on this support line, but if you can flip this 163.16 tomorrow, you can push to the 50-day before earnings. So you could see $4 before the earnings. So that's definitely something for us to consider. Now, the way to play this and what I was talking about earlier is 15 minutes, we're going to get rid of all these indicators and data. 15 minutes, they're playing a lot of games. So what we're seeing is we're seeing these patterns set up, right? And you can see this. Let's go back to this so you can see this level. Okay. So if you drill into this, you'll know that the 200 was right there. So let's put the 200 in, right? I use simple moving averages. You should use what you're most comfortable with, but I like SMAs over the EMAs. So you see you got to that level, right? All right, so now you know why we stopped where we stopped. Let's go look at the wicks, and because we all know that wicks are price rejection at this point, right? Close this up and we'll click off of this. So you pop over this, right? So normally that's an orb, a 15-minute orb, and it goes, what's it do? It stops directly at the close. I mean, it's almost to the penny. Then it reverses, and from us that know our evening star patterns, I'll link that video at the end of this. This evening star pattern right here, you want to know these patterns, especially now, because they're rampant. We come back down, we retest, we undercut that low, right? So now you've undercut the low. What's that setting you up for when you undercut the low? It's setting you up for a double bottom. You need to flip this level, right, ahead of time, and by the time you flip that level, then you have a confirmed double bottom. Now let's go take a look at this on the hourly, and you can see what I'm talking about. So if you look at the hourly, here's where you are in the hourly, right? Okay, you can see where you were. This is the hourly bar that gave us the high. This set the entire range, this 1 hour. What happens when we broke out of that range? We went. Okay, so the hourlies are confirming a lot more than the 15-minute bars. Sometimes that happens and you have to cycle through your charts and find out which one's working the best. Stick with leaders and lots of volume to find out which one's working the best. But as soon as you made that higher high, that was it. And you can see the double bottom, just not as clean as on the 15-minute. Now, I think you're getting the 67 before then. I think that's a possibility. And I do want to talk about this name. So I like Lamb Research, and I like the quarter. I like the fact that we've undercut. I like the fact that the SOX hit a low today. We're going to go over that in a moment. And this did not. So just see if we can get over this line tomorrow. Okay, 482. See if you can get over 482, because you could still be in a downtrend and go up to 550, right? You could still be in a downtrend, okay, and go up $75. So there is a trade here, and I would keep that on your radar. Now, I understand these lines are here. Maybe we break them, maybe we reject. It's up to you to trade the stock as it acts when it gets to the 21, when we get to the 50. But the fact that we opened, and let's just go through it because this is why it's on the list. We opened where? At the low, and we closed at the high. It doesn't get more bullish, especially on a day like today. So definitely put that on your list. Now let's just run through what's going on out there. The Qs, you came down right here, broke. Again, this is part of a bottoming process. I'm not so sure that we've bottomed as much as we were just oversold. If you take a look at this on a much shorter time frame, right here, you can see that oversold metric right there. And you can see how it was here before, and how we respect those and what happens there. That usually puts in a short-term bottom, right? You rallied up a little bit, you work it off, and then it usually comes back down. So I'm not so sure that this is over, especially with the amount of earnings that have this week. It's going to be a volatile week. But what I am sure about is we didn't break today. And we just kind of have to look at it from that standpoint. Now, if you make a higher high, this is real simple. If you make a higher high tomorrow, okay, you probably see money come into this and trade it back up to this 50-day. Now, why do I think it's going to get up there? I think that people are not going to be shorting into earnings until they see numbers. And I think that you're going to have very light volume in regards to this that can move the stock higher. Now, based upon that, I think you're going to have equity buyers, and I think they're going to be buying puts. More people are buying puts than selling calls right now. But I think they're doing it to protect their positions more than anything else than speculation. So I like this, and I would watch this tomorrow. This can flip and it can go up here again. We're looking for trades. That might be something to pay attention to. It was the strongest of the indexes. Look how the SPY just stopped, dead, reversed. So again, I'm not going to look at the smaller moving averages right now. I want to look at the major trends, right? Because this was a major trend move. This could have been super ugly today and it wasn't. So we have to look at that and say, hey, maybe we did come down here. Maybe we are forming that base. We don't know yet. You're still under the 21, the 50. They're pointing down. It's one day. One day does not make a market. But look at the stocks, right? We undercut. But what was the low? The open. What was the high? The close. Okay, look at the volume. So you're starting to see some buyers step in here. And I know this video is a little bit longer, but there's a lot to go over. So we went to 31 today and came to 29. I would have liked to seen 34, 35, but this we'll take what we got and we'll see how we do with it tomorrow. But look for this lower low. And I do want to take a moment and just focus on this. Okay, if this is going to slow down, if Shanghai is going to slow down, energy will come in. And I know this video is a little longer than these top fives usually are. We started having them at 5 minutes and now they're at 10 minutes. But I think this is pretty important for us to go over. Okay, this is rallying. So if the yield is rallying, that means people are buying the 10-year bond. Okay, and now you can see here, and I put this in the newsletter, but we might as well go over it since it's there. This is a negative divergence on the RSI that's telling you you're going to roll, meaning that people are going to buy the 10-year. So keep that in mind.